Welcome to Just Listen, a place for great artists and great albums. 4 times Downbeat magazine Jazz Artist of the Year. Vijay Iyer is an American pianist and composer well known to jazz listeners. He recorded for ECM and ACT labels, both known for care taken at recording quality of the albums they issue. So the sound quality of the album Uneasy is unquestionable. But how about the music? Well, the music is all one can hope from such a talented artist such as Vijay Iyer. And not only him, but his band members as well. Bassist Linda May Hano, a female bass player, now that's a rare sight, but she is widely acknowledged artist in her own right. She issued several albums under her name, but also played double bass or electric bass on many other records. One of her albums I listen most is called Aventurin, which I still find a bit outside of my liking. A drummer, Tyshawn Sorey, has built a solid reputation on his recognizable style through over a dozen albums to his own name. He mostly leans toward avant-garde style, so for me it is refreshing to hear him on this album playing more consistent rhythm lines in support of Vijay Iyer's piano. I had pleasure to watch Vijay Iyer in concerts many times, so it's very refreshing to know that he is still recording and that we can expect many things to come from him. Children of Flint, the first track, is dedicated to the water pollution in Flint, Michigan, where state emergency was declared after lead poisoning through water system was uncovered. All 3 musicians on the album are quite active in environment and political issues, so it's no surprise several tracks have such backgrounds. Combat breathing, also known as tactical or box breathing, is a tool thought to help reduce psychological stress levels before, during, and after high-risk encounters. Combat breathing can help someone who is experiencing peak levels of stress rapidly regain control of their mind and body. This composition was written in 2014, a year of several racially controversial deaths like Michael Brown, Eric Garner, and Tamir Rice. The rhythm of this performance is exhilarating and masterful. Throughout his career, Iyer has learned from a variety of artists. Players like Ellington, Monk, and Bud Powell created the foundations for jazz piano, as well as Cecil Taylor, Andrew Hill, and Muhal Richard Abrams, who audaciously pushed the trajectory of black music in the mid-60s toward what became known as the avant-garde. It's not unreasonable to place Iyer in that tradition because of their aesthetic flair. He has always been open-minded about his long-term influences. Next track of interest is called Tuba, very melodic composition that invokes McCoy Tyner percussion playing style, but even more so Abdullah Ibrahim African pulsating rhythm style. As I said earlier, other pianists have had a significant influence on Vijay Iyer, particularly pianists who drew African rhythms and melodies as well. On Uneasy, there are echoes of South African icon Abdullah Ibrahim's peaceful grace, and Iyer describes the experience of witnessing him live as an inspiration. Gary Allen's drummer song is joyful and bright, as can be expected from Vijay Iyer. Major voice through here is Tyshawn Sorey, whose drumming is spectacular, like a giant cloud encircling Vijay Iyer's piano through the whole performance. Except for an airy rendition of Cole Porter's Night and Day, and as we just said, Sorey's drive taken on pianist Gary Allen's drummer song, These 10 Uneasy compositions cover 20 years of Iyer's career. Although all tracks on the album are worth repeated listening, let's just mention one of the remaining compositions, and it is the title track, Uneasy. This was a part of Vijay Iyer's participation in 2011 ballet called Uneasy, one of the best pieces on the album, with notable performance by bassist Linda O. But who better to speak about the album than Vijay Iyer himself? The ECM recording label made a short 3-minute promotional video in which Vijay Iyer explains what his intention was with the album and meaning behind certain tracks and the way he and his trio performed them.
It's amazing playing with these two. We made 10 pieces for this album. We also did 2 covers of other people's music. The divine, late great Jerry Allen, called Drummer's Song. So we tried to make a version that honored all of the ways that she played that music. Night and Day, Cole Porter's song that is very familiar to many people. I was particularly interested in Joe Henderson's arrangement of it on his album, Inner Urge. They took that song and turned it into something else. This album is titled Uneasy because that's sort of a name for the state we find ourselves in. Uneasy was the name of a larger suite of music that I did with the choreographer Carol Armitage. Reworking it with the trio gave us space to sort of reinvent it once again for collective exploration. So that piece has these different moments of great intensity and rhythmic drive, which Tyshawn and Linda really push. It's great to ride it with them. The album opens with a piece called Children of Flint. It's paying tribute to those kids who were collectively harmed by systemic racism, by environmental racism in particular, by gross negligence. An entire population was poisoned with lead in the drinking water, which has caused great harm to a whole generation. And so I wanted to use this piece to remind people that it's still an ongoing issue.
Vijay Iyer issued over 20 albums under different labels. Most of the newer recordings are on the ECM. Listening to his first albums like Memoriphilia and Architectures, his style is already recognizable from the very beginnings. If you find time, I hope you will listen to his albums, but this last one is of particular interest. A link to SongWhip in the description lets you choose your preferred streaming service for Uneasy. Thank you for watching.